Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bubbs on Sports podcast. Today is Wednesday, October 26th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. It is in fact Wednesday, October 26th here today. Coming off a big night last night in the world of sports. You had a good amount of basketball on and a good couple hockey games on last night. The Rangers were on a tough loss for the Rangers as they lose in a shootout against the Avalanche. And, a little bit of a tough start to the season for the Rangers, not playing up to our ability. I think a little bit of slow starts, relying a little too much on Igor early on in games. They're contesting him a lot. I mean, last night, and that's not a bad thing to rely on Igor, but last night, the Rangers had a good amount of chances, but they couldn't capitalize. But there's also, I would like to see a little bit more high, grade A, high quality type chances where you're getting the puck on net, a lot, in front of the net, get screens, get sticks up there. I always said this, and I said it last year throughout the postseason, shoot the puck. You never know what's going to happen, in a hockey game when you just shoot the puck. And that's the biggest thing that I could take away from a couple of these games. I also think the Rangers are just starting out slow. Like the other team's just more physical. They're faster. They're more energized right out of the chute. And maybe that's just what I'm seeing. I know there's a lot of other people out there that obviously watch the game and could be seeing differently, but that's what I'm resulting it to. So a tough loss for the Rangers, a tough start to the season. It's not time to panic, but it is definitely a tough start to the season as they lose to the Avalanche. And they had an opportunity. They had many opportunities last night to have a good chance to score on Georgiev, who looked like Henrik Lundqvist out there last night, saving everything in his Ranger return at the Garden, as now he's with the Avalanche, obviously. Rangers lose in the shootout. Panarin had a really nice shootout goal. Other than that, that was about it. Not many great chances. Mika kind of tried to just pull like a slap shot on Georgiev. Lafreniere tried to, deke him a little bit. He tried to go, left side. Georgiev had him all the way, or to Georgiev's right, Laffy's left. Kakko tried to go, good stop, and then just rifled it past Igor, which you can't really do much about it. So it was a tough loss tonight, though. Back in action, TNT, nationally televised game again. That will be against the Islanders, so looking forward to that game tonight. Always a good one against the Islanders. No matter the records, no matter the teams, it's always a good rivalry. You never want to lose tonight's game. Tonight's game's always a must-win on the calendar because Rangers and Islanders hate each other, rightfully so. So looking forward to that. Nets as well on tonight against the Bucks. A front end of a very tough back-to-back. They'll have tonight against the Bucks, and tomorrow night they head to Dallas to play the Mavericks. And this is now a stretch of 3 straight games where they got 3 really tough opponents. It was obviously Memphis on Monday, lost that game. You obviously have Milwaukee tonight against the Bucks, and tomorrow's the Mavericks. Now after that, you have 2 straight against the Pacers, so you should win those games. Pacers are not very good. They're rebuilding. But the Mavericks and the Bucks very well could come out of the East, and the Mavericks are going to make a strong push in the West. So those are 2 really good teams, 2 physical teams. A good test for this Net team early on, who so far has been eh. So we'll see how all that plays out. So a lot to look forward to tonight. Topics for today's podcast. I know it's football season, but we're going to get to some 2 baseball topics today with me doing with the new schedule starting with the every other day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday podcast. I'm going to actually preview the World Series today. I know it's on Friday. I know Game 1's Friday, but I figured Friday I'm going to be doing my Football Friday game picks. I'll also preview the World Series. I'll go also in depth in the World Series preview on my Bubbs Talking Baseball podcast. On here, I'll obviously give you a general overview, kind of get into it, and give you my pick, give you what I think, and all that good stuff. And then on Friday, I'll give my football game picks. So I won't talk a ton of baseball on Friday, given that I'll be doing my Football Friday podcast. The second topic today will be the Yankees and their offseason, kind of projections, where they're at. Not really what I'm predicting, kind of just their outlook, free agents, what I think they need to do to cash and, Boone and those kind of things as we wrap up the 2022 interesting, wild Yankee season and all that coming up. So with all that being said, this is the Business Network podcast, and let's get right into it. So Friday night, 8:03 Eastern, will be Phillies-Astros on Fox, Game 1. of the World Series. Phillies come out of the National League. Astros come out of the American League. Well, first off, how these two teams got here. Phillies obviously took down the Cardinals in the Wild Card Series, took down the Braves in the NLDS, took down the Padres in the NLCS, and got all this way. And I said this at the beginning of October. I said that the Phillies could be one of those teams to make a run. I said that at the beginning of it all. I had that feeling because they have a ton of talent, and I've said that where, you know, their roster, their lineup specifically, you even look at their rotation is amongst some of the best in all of baseball. It's been their bullpen that's been the biggest issue. And this postseason, their lineup's been phenomenal. Their pitching staff's been phenomenal. Bryce Harper's been on another planet. And that's why they're there where they're at now, because of all those things. And I've always said that. Their lineup's among some of the best in all baseball. It's been the bullpen that's blown it for them. And the bullpen's done a well enough job. And, you know, as for the starting rotation, it's done a good job. And it's going to be a fun World Series. Now, how the Astros got here, it was obviously they swept the Mariners in 3 games. And obviously they swept the Yankees in 4 games. So they're 7-0. And they're coming into this hot. This is another year where they're in the World Series yet again. It seems like every single year they're in it, which, you know, isn't actually crazy to say that, because just about every single year they're in it. And I'll give you a number. The last 10 AL champions, and I'll give you this number here. So it was the Red Sox in 2013, 2014 was the Royals, 2015 was the Royals, 2016 was the Guardians, 2017 was the Astros, 2018 was the Red Sox. And then this is, again, 3 of the last 4 years. 2019 Astros, 2020 Rays, 2021 Astros, and obviously this year Astros. So for the last 6 years, the Astros have been in the ALCS, have actually been the AL champs, rather, and have been the AL champs, and three of the last 4. So, you know, they've been these past 6 years, they've been a mini dynasty in a way in terms of having so much success coming out of the American League. The only team in the past 6 years to be able to beat Houston and be the AL champs was the Rays in 2020, who ended up losing to the Dodgers, and then the Red Sox in 2018, who ended up taking the whole thing. That was it. Other than that, it's been Astros. So they've dominated the American League. I don't think it's meant much of a surprise that they're here, just because of the fact they're experienced. They got a couple good young guys. I mean, Jeremy Pena, the ALCS MVP. I mean, he was phenomenal. 2 big guys I'm looking at in this series is obviously Jeremy Pena versus Bryce Harper. And here's my thing. Look, I understand the cheating scandal and all that, and believe me, I still think there should have been more to that, more repercussions than just what they did. That's a different story, different day. But I think I don't like the Astros. I'm rooting for the Phillies in this series, and I want to see the Phillies win a lot. But you got to give credit to Houston, because Houston the last 3 years specifically, the last really 4 years, with the 3 of them going, the ALCS champs, they've kind of shut up all the haters. They've shut everybody up about not being able to get to the World Series, not being able to get to the postseason without cheating. They obviously won it in 2017. They lost, obviously, in 2019. They got there, though. They lost in 2020, or 2021. They got there, though. They lost to the Braves. 2019 was obviously against the Nationals, and they're back there against this year. So they're proving everybody that, look, they're still a dominant force without the cheating, without the banging on the trash can, and they continue to prove that year in and year out. And the Phillies have another opportunity to shut them down. The Astros, again, they've been to 4 World Series in the past, 6 years. So, and they've won 1 of them. The Phillies have another really good chance to shut down the Astros, where if the Astros lose this, they'll be 1-3 in the past 6 years in the World Series, where they're not being able to get above and beyond and beat, the team in the World Series and beat the National League team coming out of the National League. So it's a golden opportunity for Philly, and it's going to be a good series. I'm looking forward to it. And as for Philly, this is the first time Philly's won it in a very long time. The last 10 National League champions were the Cardinals 2013, Giants 2014, Mets in 2015, Cubs in 2016, Dodgers in 2017, Dodgers in 2018, Nationals in 2019, Dodgers again in 2020, Braves in 2021, Phillies in 2022. So really the last 6 years for the National League, it's been dominated by the Dodgers, 3 of those 6. Nationals, Braves, Phillies all sprinkled in. Braves go on to win the World Series last year. Nationals do as well in the 2019. So the last 6 years, an interesting nugget here, and I love looking at this stuff. The last 6 years, outside of the Dodgers, who obviously lost in 2017 to the Astros, won it in lost in 2018, and obviously won it in 2020. All those lost obviously to the Dodgers the Red Sox in 2018 and won it in 2020 against the Rays. The other three teams, the three other teams outside of the Dodgers have all won it in the last 6 years. So Nationals won it in 2019, Braves won it in 2021, and now the Phillies. So the last 6 years, the Dodgers have been the NL champs the last 3 years. The two other teams not named the Dodgers went on to win the whole thing. And now the Phillies are that third team. So does, kind of the pattern continue where the NL champ not named the Dodgers, do they go on and win the whole thing? Well, we'll see. And again, this Phillies team, I continue to say it. Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Nick Castellanos, all these guys, such a talented lineup. JT Realmuto, a top 5 lineup in all baseball. And I've said that throughout the year. The biggest thing has been the bullpen and can they hold on to leads. And we even saw it a little bit this postseason. Things got a little iffy even in Game 5 where things got a little choppy in that final inning. You even go earlier where they played the Braves, and I think they brought in Zach Eflin, and they were winning, 7-3 or something. There was like a 3-run homer. It was 7-6. And there's been some choppy moments. And I'll tell you this, you can't let that happen against the Astros because it's going to be tough to steal games against the Astros. It really is because they're a good team. And they obviously have home field advantage, but this is going to be a fun series. And you look at this Phillies roster, they've been great. And Game 1 starter will be Aaron Nola. The Astros have yet to decide who their Game 1 starter will be. I mean, Bryce Harper's batted .419 in the postseason. If he goes into this, let's say this series goes to 6 games. And I could see it going to 7 games because I think you're getting what you're getting in this series, and this is what makes it so exciting, is you're getting a red-hot Phillies team. Every year you get those teams where they catch fire at the right time. 2019, it was the Braves or the Nationals. You could even say 2020 was the Rays. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say last year the Rays catching fire, or the Rays in 2020, 2 years ago. The Rays going to the World Series, I don't know if everybody saw that coming. They kind of caught fire in a way. This year, it's the Phillies. Every year, there's a different team that makes noise in the postseason that you didn't really expect. And it happens every single season. You go back to 2017, it was that Yankee team. That 2017 Yankee team, not many people expected them to go very far. They go on and force a Game 7 in the ALCS. I mean, the things I would do to get a team that gritty and tough again, the Yankees are nowhere close to that anymore, nowhere close to any of their winning ways anymore, and we'll get to them in the second topic, but there's always that team. So you're getting a very hot Phillies team versus an Astros team that's hot. They're 7-0. They haven't been tested a ton, though, because they swept the Yankees in 4 games with ease, and I don't want to hear, the Yankees, were in every game. I understand that. I get they were in every game. But let's be real here. The Astros were always the more talented team, and the Astros were always had the upper hand. They always did. Right when they took Game 1, they had the upper hand the rest of the way. So a Phillies team that has gotten through St. Louis, who a lot of people thought might be able to make a run, Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina in their final season, a little bit of the magic. A lot of people thought the Braves, myself included, would make a deep run again. And a lot of people thought after the Padres got past the Dodgers, they were going to be the team to beat, and they get through them. So the Phillies have gone through a lot of really tough opponents. As for the Astros, it was the Mariners who blew the lead in Game 1, weren't the same the rest of the series, and for the Yankees who couldn't hit a baseball. So that's where it's interesting. It's like you have one team that's the new kid in town being the Phillies. Another team that's been here before, but the Phillies have knocked off all the big guys. Are they now kind of the king? They have to they dethrone the Braves. Now do they kind of dethrone the Astros here in terms of their success over the past 6 years? So a lot of interesting storylines. But you go to the rosters, and again, I'll tell you this. I'll go through the roster. The Phillies, in my opinion, when you look at the numbers, when you look at what you saw in the 3 rounds of the postseason, wild card, DS, and LCS, to me, what I saw was, I think this Phillies team, you can make the argument, has the best lineup out of every postseason team. And you can make the argument even going into it. I mean, the Astros lineup's very good, but from top to bottom, I really wouldn't be, I don't think it's crazy to say the Phillies have the advantage offensively in this series. I don't think it's crazy. Now, is it crazy? Is it by such a slim margin? Yes. It's by a very slim margin. But I will tell you this, if Altuve can start the hit for Houston in this series, it's going to be pivotal. They need Altuve to hit. They need. Because leadoff hitter is going to be big in this series, setting the tone early in these games because both pitching staffs are really good. Framber Valdez, Verlander, all those guys for the Houston Astros, very solid pitchers. We saw Verlander dominate with our own eyes, us as Yankee fans. And as for the Phillies, it's Nola, Suarez, it's Zach Wheeler. Those 3 guys are your go-to. Those 3 guys are really solid. And especially when you go to the bullpen, where Houston's bullpen's been lights out, Phillies have been all right. They've had a lot of big leads, but Phillies is still a question mark. Can Philly get off to a early start? And the leadoff hitters, the top of the order is big. Like, if Altuve can set the tone early at home, that would be huge for Houston. But if Schwarber leads off with another homer like he did throughout the playoffs this year, I mean, that'd also be huge because you're quieting the crowd, you're getting off to a quick start. Quick start in these games are huge because, you just don't know how much runs are going to be able to muster up with these 2 pitching staffs. They're really, really, really good. And for the Phillies, you want to get a lead because you don't want to turn the ball over to the bullpen down or tied. You want to turn the ball over to the bullpen with a lead and a pretty good lead, if that. And I think I'll tell you this, top to bottom, I don't think it's crazy to say the Phillies have the better lineup. Because you look at the bottom of the order of the Astros, and they obviously crushed the Yankees, I get it, but it's CJ, it's McCormick, it's Maldonado, it's kind of guys like that. Diaz, a couple guys, aren't phenomenal, but they can hit. But, you compare it to, a lineup like the Phillies where you look at the bottom and it's kind of like, Bohm, towards the bottom there, it's, Segura, who I know struggled a little bit, but he could still do some damage. Even Brandon Marsh is a guy that can do some damage too. I know he didn't have the best series and best postseason ever, but even he's the guy. Like, I think when you look throughout the lineup, the Phillies still have, a lot of good pieces at the bottom, but it's obviously Harper. Harper's the biggest one. He's batting .419 in the series, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, on base percentage of .444, 18 hits. And if I had to give you a key for the Astros, the key would be you got to find a way to stop Bryce Harper. You have to, especially late in games. He gets up with runners on base. You got to give, you might have to give him the treatment of Aaron Judge this year. You pitch around him because he's been the best player on the planet right now with the way he's hitting. And for the Astros, I think the biggest thing is keeping Altuve in check because he's still been struggling. And I know you can go to Yordan Alvarez, but I got to give credit to the Yankees. The Yankees, the one thing they did well in that series, they held Yordan Alvarez in check. The one thing they did well. And as for the Phillies, they can definitely do the same, but you also got to make sure that Altuve continues his struggles because if Altuve gets going, I mean, it's not good. It's not good for opposing teams if he gets going. So it's going to be an interesting series. Really looking forward to it. Friday, Game 1, Phillies, Astros, Aaron Nola on the mound for Game 1. The Astros have yet to announce their starting pitcher. Games 1 and 2 will be Friday, Saturday. Game 3 will be next Monday. Game 4 will then leak into November. That will be next Tuesday. Then Wednesday will be Game 5. Friday will be Game 6. And then Saturday next week, a week from this Saturday, if needed, Game 7 will be back in Houston on Saturday of next week. Every game starting at 8:03 p.m. Eastern. And, World Series. Here we come. I wish it was Yankees-Phillies, but it is what it is. Phillies-Astros. Looking forward to it. Should be a very exciting series. Got a lot of power. Kyle Schwarber, Yordan Alvarez, Bryce Harper, Hoskins. A lot of power. A lot of contact, too. A lot of contact. When you had Bregman and Pena and those guys to the list, it is a very talented series coming up. So my pick for this series, is I'm taking the Phillies, and I'm going to take the Phillies. I'm going to be dramatic. I'm going to say the Phillies win in 6. 6 or 7. I mean, dramatic would be 7. Again, I thought the Phillies are just a hot team right now. And you can look at the lineups any way you want to. The Phillies are just a hot baseball team. And to me, that is such a huge difference. You know, you could win 120 games in the regular season for all I care. If you're not hot in the postseason, it doesn't matter. Look at the 2001 Mariners team. Everybody talks about that team with the big win record and all that stuff. Yankees got hot in the postseason, dominated them, and forget about it. That win record means nothing now, right? But that's how it is. You know, no matter what the Astros, the Astros have gone 7-0 in the American League. You face a Phillies team that's extremely hot right now. Got through the Braves, got through the Padres, got through the Cardinals. 3 of those teams people picked possibly for the World Series. Now, I know the Mariners, some people thought might make a run, myself included. I don't think many people thought the Yankees were going to make a deep, deep run to the World Series. I think a lot of people thought they were going to go to the ALCS. I don't know if everybody said they're going to go to the World Series, but either way. So, I'm going to take the Phillies. I'm going to take the Phillies in 6. I just like where they're at here. Like their lineup, like their pitching, rooting for them. So maybe a little bit of a biased pick there because I would like to see them win Can't Stand Houston. And I think it would be pretty cool for Rob Thompson, former Yankee bench coach as well, put in the Yankees ties. So give me the Phillies in 6. That's my World Series pick. All right. So now we go to the team that is not in the World Series and missed out by 4 wins. Obviously, you win in 5 against Cleveland. You lose in 4 against Houston. And if you kind of want to get my closing thoughts on the series and how Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman, I did a more of an in-depth look on my Bubbs Talking Baseball podcast. This is going to be more of a what's to come in the offseason, not my full offseason preview and prediction. Once the season's over and everything like that's kind of done, that's when I'll do my full kind of preview, what to expect. That's when the rumors will come out, and that's when teams really could start to work on stuff. Right now, season's still going on. You still got, at least, at most 7 games left, at least 4 games left, obviously with the World Series. So not much is going to happen right now other than just rumors. So, but my outlook is that I'm going to kind of provide my outlook, where the Yankees stand free agency-wise, possibilities of where they could go if, these guys leave and go away, all those things. I'll tell you this, and I'm going to continue to say this. I think Cashman and Boone have to be fired. I know it's probably not going to happen. I think I heard a rumor within the coming days, they're going to have a postseason press conference where Hal Steinbrenner, Cashman, and Boone will all speak. Now, Cashman's contract's up, and we all know that. Now, he might not come back. He could most around the team expect Hal Steinbrenner to ask Brian Cashman to come back. Now, Cashman could say, no, I don't want to come back. Is he going to? I mean, there's a 99% chance he's not going to. I think there's a better chance of the Yankees finding a way to get themselves in the World Series, even though they're eliminated, than Brian Cashman saying no to returning to the Yankees GM job. But it's still something to think about. But to me, you got to get rid of Brian Cashman, and you got to get rid of Aaron Boone. And with Cashman's contract being up, you just got to say, hey, look, we're moving on from him. See you later. And as for Aaron Boone, you got to do that too. And I understand the bats weren't good. I understand people can say, Boone can't hit for the players and he can't pitch and all that stuff. But what Boone can do is he can get the bullpen strained out. He doesn't have to put Lou Trevino in a situation where there's runners on base in a big spot in Game 3, so then you could blow it. He's not taking out your best pitcher, your ace in Garrett Cole. He can also maybe have a little bit more accountability in the locker room. Be a little bit more, energized, have the guys buy in a little bit more. I don't know, and I'm not in the clubhouse, but I got that sense of towards the end of the season, the players stopped kind of buying into Boone, whatever he was doing. And I kind of felt that way. Maybe that's just me, but, I kind of felt that the players, you hear Sevy's comments, Clay Holmes' comments after he never was put in that game against the Guardians. I kind of got that odd feeling like the players might be losing a little bit of trust in Boone. And turns out they get swept, and it was a dud performance. And I understand he can't do everything, but the bullpen management was awful. Worse than probably any postseason he's managed with the Yankees. And that resulted in a lot of bad spots. I mean, you even go back to Cleveland. I know it got covered up, And I don't want people to forget about this. It got covered up because they went on to win the series in 5 games. But that game 3, that was an awful decision bringing in Clark Schmidt. Right? And he talks all about want to bring in Herman and all them. He brings in Herman when the game's 5-0 in like the 8th, 9th inning in game 3. When it means nothing. He brings in Clay Holmes, when it means nothing. There was many opportunities to bring Clay Holmes throughout the series. He brings him in game 4. When all's said and done, they finally brings in Clay Holmes in the final 2 2/3 inning, and he pitches good. They struck out, 51 times over the 4 games, which was completely embarrassing. And it was bad. 30 times over the first 2 games, which was even more embarrassing. They got a lot of work to do. The Yankees do. And they have a lot of free agents coming up right now. The Astros are on here. The Yankees are down here. Like, the Astros are in a whole different ball game when talking about the Astros. And the Yankees are in a completely different planet, and they're in the wrong planet, where they're not on the right side of things. They're not getting better. They're not anywhere close to getting where Houston once was. So here are the notable Yankees free agents. And I know every year, you have that classic saying of, this is a big offseason, all that stuff. And every year, obviously, you're always going to have offseason decisions to make. But this year, especially for the Yankees, it is a big offseason because there's a lot of guys that contracts are up that you wonder what's going to happen. To be exact, there's 8 free agents, notable 8 Yankee free agents. These are the notable ones that are free agents this year. Obviously, you start with Aaron Judge, Aroldis Chapman, Anthony Rizzo, Sevy, Zach Britton, Benintendi, Tyone, and Carp. Those are your 8, Matt Carpenter. Now, to give you a little bit more of a look, Anthony Rizzo's got a player option. From the rumors we're hearing, he's going to opt out of it. Sevy's got a club option. It seems as if the Yankees are going to pick that up. So it looks like Sevy probably will return. Rizzo's going to opt out. That doesn't mean he won't return. He's just opting out, going to look maybe for a little bit more money or a new contract with the Yankees. What do the Yankees do? Do they move on from him and maybe try to find a young first baseman? I don't know. I guess we'll see. Rizzo's always been, he's been a nice contributor for us, really the past, year and a half now, obviously with picking him up last year at the trade deadline. But it is what the player option, most likely he'll opt out. That's what we're hearing. Nothing's official yet, but most likely that's what he'll do. That could be wrong. Those are just rumors. Who knows? The rumors early on in the postseason, you can't fully trust, obviously, at times. Chapman's gone. No doubt about it. I'd be shocked if Cashman's gone, or Chapman comes back. They basically said, goodbye when they held him off the roster. I'm going to most likely assume Britton's gone. I know they like Zach Britton a lot. Maybe they do bring him back. I think out of the 8 guys on here, the one guarantees Chapman's not coming back. I think then Zach Britton probably won't come back either. Carpenter says he wants to come back. Is that going to be with the Yankees, or are they going to have another? Do they have enough room for him? That's the one thing. It might come into a numbers game where they just don't have enough spots for him. I think, depending on what, I think the Yankees are going to wait and see on Carpenter, and they're going to wait to see how the Judge, Benintendi stuff play out. And I also think they're going to wait and see how Rizzo plays out, too, because Carpenter can play a little first. He could be that utility guy. If you lose Judge, Benintendi, Rizzo, you almost have to bring back Carpenter. So I think they'll wait on that a little bit. I think they'll wait and kind of see what's happening with Rizzo, Benintendi, and Judge, and then they'll see if Carpenter comes. Now, if Benintendi, Judge, Rizzo all come back, I don't know if you'll see, because you still have Stanton, you'd have Bader out there. I just don't know, and depending on who else you sign and who else you bring back, I just don't know if Matt Carpenter would be an option. With him being able to play outfield, he could also play DH. The only issue is do you then see more outfield out of Stanton? Now, if Judge and Benintendi go, then Bader, Hicks is out, most likely. They very well, the Yankees could be a completely different team in terms of, this is their, these are the notable free agents. And then what's going to happen with Donaldson? What's going to happen with Torres? It's crazy how many guys potentially might not be on this Yankee team next year. And, maybe they package, you hear rumors that they almost packaged them in a trade for Pablo Lopez at the trade deadline. Gleyber Torres, could he be a trade possibility? Even a guy like a Josh Donaldson. Could you be able to give up enough to just throw Donaldson in the deal and get rid of him? You're paying him $25 million to do absolutely nothing. Could he be an option to be traded as well? But let's say you lose all 8 of these guys, all 8 of these free agents. And I can tell you what, Chapman's not coming back. Britton's not coming back. That's 2. Rizzo has a player option. If he's opting out, I wouldn't be surprised to see Rizzo go elsewhere if he's just going to opt out. Because I don't think he's going to get a ton more money or a completely different contract than what the Yankees are giving him now, to be honest with you. So if he's opting out, I wouldn't be surprised to maybe see him go elsewhere. So let's say Rizzo's gone. That's 3. Sevy's probably going to come back. Let's say Judge goes. Judge is the big 50-50. That's 4. I mean, it's realistic to say Carpenter's a wait and see. Taillon, I don't know what Taillon. I mean, he's good. It's not that the Yankees don't want to bring Taillon back. I think what's going to happen with Taillon is I think another team out there is going to take him, and they're going to utilize him as like a third starter. He's probably going to get a lot more money elsewhere to go play for another team than he would with the Yankees because they're already paying, Cole. You have to worry about Nestor if he continues to pitch the way he is. Sevy, another guy too. For Taillon to be the 4th starter, I don't know if he's going to get as much money as he's going to want with the Yankees to be a 4-5 guy, especially with them picking up Sevy's option. But that's obviously always an interesting conversation. I wouldn't be surprised to see Taillon go elsewhere, pitch to a 3.90 ERA, be a solid pitcher for another team, rack up a lot more money. I wouldn't be shocked. So it's interesting. Judge is obviously the biggest one. But you can make the argument, let's say Judge is gone, Benintendi's gone. Let's say Judge, Benintendi, Carpenter all gone. Hicks is probably gone. Your outfield's Bader. That's about it. And then you have Stanton, but he's not going to play every day. So do you put Oswaldo out there? You could go Bader, Oswaldo. You need somebody else then. You could put, Stanton, I guess, but then you're going to need DH. So then does that force you to bring Carpenter back? But are you risking too much bringing Carpenter back, or do you go out and sign somebody? Judge is huge. He's huge. I think Benintendi's going to come back. I do. I think the Yankees are going to bring Benintendi back. I do. I think it's out of these 8. To be honest with you, the most realistic possibility of coming back, I think it's Judge. Obviously Sevy, because we've kind of heard that the club option's probably going to pick him back up. Those are the 3. And I don't know. The choice, I think Britton and Chapman are gone. I'd have to one of the Rizzo, Taillon, Carpenter combo. Judge, Benintendi, Sevy, I think will all come back. Rizzo, Taillon, Carpenter. Out of the 3 of those, I'd probably say it'd be Rizzo. So, number 1, Carpenter, just don't know if you really got a spot for him. We kind of saw that in the postseason. It was tough to get him in there. And when he wasn't playing well. And for Taillon, I think he's going to get a lot more money elsewhere. I don't think it's that the Yankees are just going to completely, not forget about him. I just think he's going to get a better offer elsewhere. And then Chapman and Britton are gone. So it's interesting. But, and then if Donaldson goes and Torres is gone, well, LeMahieu then slots in. Let's say Rizzo goes. I mean, this is a lot of free agents, a lot of uncertainty entering an offseason where you don't even know if you fully trust your GM anymore. And that's the concerning part. So we'll see how it all plays out. Obviously, the biggest one of them all is Judge, and I think that has a lot of weight to it. I think once Judge signs, you'll find a lot of other stuff out. I don't know. I get this weird feeling that if Judge doesn't re-sign with the Yankees, I don't know if Rizzo will come back. Him, they were close. I don't know if you'll see Rizzo come back. You heard a lot of guys talk highly of Judge, talking how if he does come back, he'll be the next captain. Like, if he doesn't come back, not that would be a shock to the locker room where nobody's going to want to come to play for the Yankees anymore just because Judge is gone. But I do think it might, gear some guys elsewhere. He's also your best player. What is the team going to be like without Judge? Like, if they don't sign a top-tier free agent and Judge goes, what's this team going to be? Let's be honest here. Judge didn't hit well in the postseason. That's kind of what the team's going to look like if Judge isn't here. So that's the concerning part. Trey Turner could be an option in free agency. He's one of the bigger guys. The only issue I have with going out and getting Correa is Volpe's a year away, and you already have Peraza up who showed some promise. Do you just roll with those guys? I do like the possibility of bringing in Trey Turner and plugging him at the top. I think that's not a bad idea. Trey Turner's a phenomenal baseball player. So it's interesting. It will be definitely interesting to see how all this plays out. So we'll get to the New York sports update here and the rest of the sports tonight. As for the NHL, you got 3 games on tonight. Blues, Oilers, Ducks, Lightning, and the Rangers, Islanders. Rangers come into this game 3-2-2. Islanders are 2-4-0. Over-under set at 7:30 Eastern on TNT. As for the NBA, you got Hawks, Pistons, Cavs, Magic, Raptors, 76ers, Pacers, Bulls. Timberwolves, Spurs, Jazz, Rockets, Heat, Trailblazers, Lakers, Nuggets. Knicks, Hornets on tonight. Knicks 2-1. Hornets 2-1 as well. Knicks 7-point favorites, 7:30 p.m. Eastern MSG. And as for the Nets, it's Nets Bucks tonight. Nets 1-2. Bucks 2-0. Bucks 4-point favorites. Over under set at 231. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. ESPN. You could also find on Yes Network. And my game pick for tomorrow night, Ravens, Buccaneers, Thursday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. Eastern, Amazon Prime Video. Ravens 4-3, Buccaneers 3-4. Ravens a slim 1-point favorite, over under set at 45.5. I'm going to take Baltimore here on the road. Did not like what I saw last week out of Brady in Carolina. I know Brady coming off a loss, short week, tough loss. I get all that. And the Ravens have been, have their fair share of, a little bit of, I know they barely got past Cleveland. I know they've been struggling a little bit. I know they, obviously, they lost to the Bills. They were able to beat the Bengals, lost to the Giants. Just got away with the win against the Browns. But I do think the Ravens, just the offensive firepower for Baltimore, I think is a lot more bigger than what Tampa's bringing to the table right now, which is pretty much nothing. So I'm going to take Baltimore on the road. 63% of people think the Ravens will win this game. I'm 6-1 this year through 7 weeks on the Thursday night game pick. So it's week 8 already, and I'm going to take the Ravens here at home or on the road. Get the win. I'm going to take the Ravens 24-20. Ravens win. I'll take the under on the over-under 45.5, and I think the Ravens get the win on the road. Give me Baltimore covering the 1 point. All right, so that's what I got there. And as for fantasy basketball, tonight you got a good amount of games on. So Scotty Barnes, to give you some injuries for fantasy basketball. Barnes' ankles holds a questionable designation for Wednesday till Tilt versus the 76ers. John Lewenberg of TSN.ca reports. So that's that on Scotty Barnes. And Kawhi Leonard's out. He went back to Los Angeles for treatment on his stiff knee, so hopefully that's nothing major. I mean, that's huge for the Clippers, too. I mean, he's such a solid player, obviously, does so much. We all know what Kawhi Leonard is. I don't have to talk about him. His knee. His knee tore an ACL. Now it's, some stiffness, a little bit, maybe a little load management. I don't know, but definitely interesting. So, looking forward to tonight. You got Nets, you got Knicks, you got Rangers versus Islanders. So all of that combined into one good-looking New York sports night tonight. Looking forward to it, and should be good. So as always, hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.